Welcome back, everyone, to another episode of GCC Tech Talks by 70 Experts. Here again with my co-host, Sai. Good to see you.
Good to see you as well, Tom.
Before we dive in and introduce the guest, I just want to clarify we are recording in the middle of the conflict. This is our first recording that we've done. We obviously took a slight break as we kind of navigated the trenches of everything, but the UAE and the GCC countries have done an absolutely phenomenal job. The rulers, the military here in the UAE, couldn't be prouder of what they're doing. So, I don't know if there's anything you want to add, but...
The only thing I'm going to add is I've been here 3 years, and the safest I've felt throughout my whole life has been in the last 4 weeks. They've done a phenomenal job. You can't fault the government of this country. The royal family, the Air Force here. I feel safe. My family feels safe. And we're not going anywhere.
No, and I couldn't be more proud to have grown up here and stood behind the Emiratis that are keeping this country safe. Yeah. But on that note, would love to welcome our latest guest, Faisal Ali.
Thank you.
Good to have you on.
Good to be here.
So, a bit about yourself, a bit background, kind of where you're from. Obviously, I know, but for our guests, where you're from, how did you get into the role of Chief Information Officer? Because I think we're going to kind of dive into that route at some point in the conversation.
Oh, absolutely. Look, I'm an Emirati. That goes without saying. I'm from here. Salute to the government for keeping us all safe during this time. I don't think anybody's noticed any change in their daily lifestyle, other than just being a little bit more vigilant, which we're supposed to be during such times. But that's about it. Having said that, my first love has always been tech. That's not a secret to anyone, especially my family, who absolutely realized this way early on and pushed me into the field. And my whole life has been a journey from, one step at a time on this ladder. And that's what brought me to being a group CIO today. And let's see where it takes me.
Yeah, so that was going to be a question of mine. Did you come through the business route or the tech route? But you kind of answered that question yourself. So you studied in Dubai or a different emirate? Where?
All over the world, honestly. Okay. My early high schooling was done in Pakistan. Yeah. And from there, I went to the US. I was in Texas for a while. Back to Dubai, back to Texas. Spent about 13 years on and off in the US. Worked for majors like IBM, Microsoft, the likes of it. Worked for Dubai government, worked for federal government over here. So it's kind of been a very interesting journey. Private sector. This is not the first family business that I'm with right now. So, a breadth of experience, alhamdulillah. Dubai has given me the opportunities to really broaden my horizons and experience a whole wide range of services and the way different organizations deliver services.
Yeah. Okay. So IBM then. So you've kind of done the consulting. Were you kind of working on consulting through IBM or?
No, I was. So this is way back in the US days in the early part of my career. And I used to configure and manage printers across the United States.
Did you? We'll have to dive into that
as well. It's a techie as well. Do you know what? This show is full of surprises. We come across some characters, don't we? And we realize there actually used to be techies, like techies as in with their hands techies as well.
I very much am. To this day, I very much am a techie. No questions about it. You can't take that away from me.
So what was your first job then?
In the US?
Just, first corporate job, US, wherever.
Well, I started out with working at our uni lab. We would be working on programs, coding, and all of that kind of fun stuff. And part of the submission, again, I'm kind of dating myself, but this was back in the 90s, right? Pre-internet. So the only way we could submit our assignments were we had to print the job out, and then you had to file it and then hand it over to the teacher. So we used to have shifts in the lab where we used to learn how to run these multi-headed dot matrix printers, multi-line printers. So they would, print these things out. These would be like real stacks of paper and just get them out. And if a job would get stuck, oh God.
No digital documented back in the day there.
Not back then, no.
Oh, good. Okay, so
dot matrix is going back a long way. That's a long way. That's a long way back.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, it went further back. So, but this was multi-headed, so it would print multiple lines, 5 lines at a time. Yeah. So literally it would go, and it would go really, really fast. So
I think in the US, I've spotted some. When I've traveled in the US, I've spotted some in some hotels as well. Mm-hmm. They've still got the dot matrix printers. Yeah, exactly. The noise. You never forget the noise, do you?
No. You go into some of the councils in England, they've definitely still got them. Yes. Okay, so you were printers. Then kind of where was the next move?
Started from printers, moved on to coding.
Yep.
From coding, I went into consulting.
Okay.
From consulting, I moved to Dubai, and I met a wonderful gentleman over here who was the head of IT at Dubai municipality at the time. I have absolutely no clue what he saw in me at that point in time, because I was interviewing, and he gave me my offer letter, and my offer letter didn't have a job description; it just had a start date and a reporting place. So I kind of went in there and I asked him that, "What am I supposed to do?" And he goes, "Look, I know you're a qualified coder, but I have a feeling you would do wonders in infra. And I need a guy in infra. So what do you say?" And I go, "Are you trying to set me up?" And he goes, "Absolutely not. If you don't like it, you come back to coding." And I don't know what he saw in me, but it must have been something. And I never looked back. And I've been an infra guy since 1997.
Oh, wow. Okay. So sometimes it takes one person to change your direction,
absolutely.
Believe in you.
Yeah.
And it's, I think here we always talk about it. Dubai is such a good place for that, is networking and meeting someone, and just opens up an opportunity where maybe that path wasn't the path that you were supposed to go down originally, and it kind of, goes down a different one.
Absolutely.
Sometimes as well, I've noticed it. I've noticed as well. Sometimes you see certain things in someone. I've seen certain data analysts, they'll be absolutely fantastic data engineers. Yeah, I've seen guys on the business side. They, the way they calculate things, the way they use statistical techniques, they'll be a fantastic data scientist. And I've pushed them. I've always tried to push them. But like you said, it's to give them the opportunity and let them choose rather than trying to push them into it. That's the best way of going about it.
Oh, absolutely.
I had a friend, I worked at Tableau for a long time, and a good friend of mine, we were both in sales at the time. He now is a Power BI and Tableau developer in New Zealand.
Oh,
and it was like, that was the path actually he should have gone down. Yeah. He kind of learnt maybe sales wasn't the thing for him. And I think if you can open up and give someone that opportunity and let them flourish in it.
Yeah.
Very much so.
Yeah.
So it's gone from printers, infrastructure.
Yeah.
How long have you been a CIO then?
Current role, 8 years. Before that, I was still heading tech.
Yeah.
So I've been heading tech for almost 15 years now.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So maybe you can enlighten us, maybe give a few war stories. What kind of large, small transformational projects that you've kind of looked after over the last sort of decade?
I've been through it all. I've been through, getting networks and getting multiple sites connected to internet, making its ways into an organizations. I've been through the days. I clearly remember one of my colleagues coming up and going, "Hey, you want to do this project with me? It's got to do with the internet, and you're interested." And I'm like, "Oh, cool. What is it? Are we building a new website?" And he goes, "No, we're configuring this new device." And I go, "What's this device? What is it?" He's like, "It's something called a firewall."
Brilliant.
A firewall.
Brilliant.
I'm like, "What does it do?" He's like, "I don't know. We'll find out."
It's amazing how you look back, how technology has just transformed everything and just moved on so quickly.
And then we went from client server to web-based to e-services to mobile services to smart services to digital transformation. And here we are in the age of AI.
Yeah.
I was going to say, did you notice something? Fire was described as a physical asset there. Mm-hmm. Did you notice that? Yeah, because firewalls to kids these days it's just software. It's just a service that you spin up.
Talking about a device.
Yeah, it's a physical thing that you have to put there.
Well, most kids don't, and the save button is a floppy disk. They don't even know what that is.
Actually, that's a good point. That's a good point.
Yeah. I think we've kind of lived. We're that generation that's gone through where TVs, internet, devices, and it's changing. And now we're in AI, and I think my kids are very young. Your son's very young, and all they know going through school is digital AI. So it's a different world that we all live in now.
We went to a restaurant actually a couple of weeks ago, and there was these telephones going back probably to the 1930s, and I said to Omar, "What's that?" I think that's a telephone. Okay, the next one. What's that? I don't know. Probably some sort of Morse code device or something like that. I was laughing my head off. It was just a telephone, yeah? You speak into this side and you put the other side.
Oh, bless.
So, yeah, it's... they're children. These children, I would say in the last 10 years, they're going to grow up in a totally different world to the world that we grew up in.
It is such a different world. I've got a 16-year-old and I've got a 2-year-old. And even with my 16-year-old, it's time to get to college, and the world has changed so much. The traditional way in which we used to get coached and we used to get trained and pick a career and pick where you want to go has changed so much. You want to be a doctor. Well, what's a doctor going to look like in 8 years from now?
Yeah.
Is a doctor actually going to be examining a patient? Is a doctor actually going to be looking at your results or your images? Or is that all going to be done by AI? And if it's all done by AI, then what does a doctor do?
I think it's also worth looking at the trajectory of roles and people going into and studying in those particular areas.
Yep.
Because I think a lot of kids aren't actually seeing, becoming a doctor or, finance. A lot of kids want to become YouTubers and social media content, and it's... How do we make sure that we're actually getting the right...
But, I think that's going to very much be required, because if you're a doctor and you're not on YouTube and you don't have 1 million subscribers, probably they're not going to come to you because you're not very trustworthy. And that's where the world's going, right? That's going to be your benchmark.
We talked, when we started this podcast, I was talking to a colleague of mine at 70 Experts, and he was saying they had dentists and they had a new method of doing some dentistry. They were struggling to get it out. So what they did, they started a podcast and a YouTube channel and came up with this wild rap song, and it blew up, and they were starting to get invited to the US, Europe to do seminars on this new way of working. And actually they used social media to get their message out, some silly little song, but it works. You got to be online.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that is it's the present and the future.
Yeah. I think these statements I definitely agree with. The only thing I don't agree with is I want to become an influencer. Okay, so what is your role going to be exactly? I'm an influencer. I don't understand that. I don't get that. I'm really sorry, but I don't get that. Like you mentioned about doctor and going onto social media. That I get.
Yeah.
We work in data and BI. We will get onto social media.
But I mean, that's what it's going to be, right? I mean, influencer is just like saying I'm a doctor. What kind of doctor are you?
Yeah.
So what kind of an influencer are you? Are you a medical influencer? Are you a pharmaceutical influencer? Are you a travel influencer? Are you a gastronomical influencer? There's going to be so many specialties and subspecialties in there that it's just going to go that way.
That's a good point, actually. That's a good point. It's like we haven't defined...
think because, you see, what's the documentary with Louis Theroux? I think, that paints social media in a bad light, but there are positives to it as well.
Yeah.
Oh, excuse me. So I'd like to understand a little bit how you've kind of gone through thinking about the AI wave, in your current role, with your peers, how you're, I don't know if you're thinking about how do we train up the next generation of employees that we've got to learn AI. I'd love to get a bit of perspective on you of how that's
How crazy operating. Am I supposed to get here?
Very crazy. As crazy as you like.
Just be honest.
Look, it's almost scary the pace at which this is moving. But if it wasn't scary the pace at which it was moving, then there would be something fundamentally wrong with AI. So we've got to understand that, the age of taking, 3 weeks, 4 weeks, 6 weeks, 10 weeks to make a decision are gone. They're long gone. We blame the younger generations for instant gratification through social media and YouTube and ADHD or whatever we want to call it, right? We blame them for all that sort of stuff. But now we sit at a stage where if you don't move at that pace, your opponents are going to take the lead. That's all there is to it. Either you recognize it or you don't recognize it. And if you recognize it, then you better keep up with what's happening. Yep. Because if you don't, then, the best example or the best analogy I can give is while the world is Googling, you're still learning emails. That's where it's going to be.
So how do you then apply that to your job? Because I think there's definitely with some organizations, we don't need to talk about the specifics, but, some organizations are set up for transformation and can pivot quite quickly. Others come from a long history background. There's a lot of politics. There's a lot of legacy systems. There's a lot of legacy processes.
Yeah.
How do you, if you were talking to the audience, give some advice, how would you go about, if you worked in a large organization to think about AI and start implementing it and, pick out use cases? Do you start from the top? Do you start from the bottom?
I start from the inside. Yeah. It's as simple as that for me. I learned something very early in my career, and that is eat your own dog food. It's as simple as that. If I'm going to preach something, if I'm going to bring something in, if I'm going to talk about a transformation, I should be the first one to live it. And then should be my team around me. And once we've got those lessons learned, right? What are the pitfalls? What are the do's? What are the don'ts? What is the path to it? How do you accelerate along this journey? Does it actually lead to benefits or not? That's when you then go out and start talking to others, because then you can intelligently help them. And it's genuinely about helping rather than transforming or, automating or bringing in efficiencies that impacts people negatively.
Yeah, I love that because, coming from what, I run a consultancy, so I'm speaking to businesses, and you can always tell ones that we want to do AI because we feel like we're missing out rather than the ones that, there's a genuine opportunity to be had, and you have people at the leadership level learning about it, and they can articulate it to the level below in the organization.
Do you know one thing I want to pick on here was about mistakes, right? And learning from them and admitting to them.
Yeah.
Because I feel as though, because we're moving at a phenomenal pace, you are going to make mistakes. There's no doubt about it. And the double checks to make the mistakes are going to be less. They're always going to be less because you're constantly reiterating, constantly releasing as well. I think the acceptance that a mistake can be made and it's okay to make a mistake. And as long as you learn from that mistake, it's quite normal. You won't get it right first time. But also on the flip side, and I've been involved in a few debates like this, is about the risk. The risk that you're taking for your brand, the risk that you're taking towards customer service, the risk that you're taking towards even financial impact, shall we say. I think there has to be a balance on both sides. And I was going to ask you, Faisal, how would you go about managing that risk? And what would your thought process be around that?
So there are two things, right? First, I very much am of the school of thought that if AI doesn't yield a 10x, 20x, 50x, then you're doing it wrong. But then there's a journey to it. You're not just going to, throw a switch and say, yay, I'm 20x or 30x or 50x today. No, it's not going to happen. You're going to go through the 20% gain to the 50% gain to the 100% gain to 2x to 5x to 10x to 20x to 30x. You've got to take that journey. Don't think that your first leap is going to be from 0 to 50x. That's not going to happen. You're setting yourself up for failure if you do that. You might get lucky. I'm not saying it can't be done. You might get lucky, but that's going to be 1 in a million shot. That's what it's going to be. But if you take the more simpler route, where you set yourself up smaller goals, right? Learn to walk before you run, then you're gonna get in there really well.
Yeah, I see a lot online, especially on LinkedIn, of people preaching, AI ROI in 30 days, and you think that's not the right approach to be thinking about it. There can be quick wins, but especially in a region like this, there's sovereignty, there's data governance rules in place. You need to make sure that you've got some foundations and some pragmatic approach to it.
Oh, absolutely. One of the things, I heard this somewhere and it just stuck with me, and it goes, automation without oversight is negligence.
Yeah.
It's as simple as that. You've got to have someone accountable and responsible for the decisions taken at the end of the day. And it can't be someone at the bottom of the food chain. It's got to be someone higher up.
Yeah. From a CIO perspective, what's your recommendation on working with the business to go and identify use cases and then, actually go and plan out to go run, proof of concept or a POC or a pilot?
That's probably the biggest challenge I've had, because by the time I learn something and I go out to help the business with it, it's obsolete. The pace at which this is growing, I need to go out there very, very quickly. Today's examples, let's take a simple one. I think Cloud Work, everybody's using that. And I was just talking to a friend yesterday, and he develops websites for a living. And he's like, Faisal, I had a website that came to me for English-Arabic translation, and I just kind of went to Cloud Work just to see. And I said, translate this website for me, make sure there's nothing, blah, 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 blah. Off you go. And he's like, as we are conversing, CloudWorks taken over my PC, and it's building the whole thing out.
Yes, honestly.
Right?
There are industries that are almost getting wiped out entirely. I was reading there's an artist online, he does digital stuff. And he was like, people can copy my work in minutes now online. He's like, I basically need to go and pivot and try a whole new career.
Yeah.
Yep.
But then so many new careers are going to come about because of this.
Yeah. I think that's the most important thing that a lot of people need to realize. Yes, a role might be obsolete, but the opportunities for the next level role, should we say, is tenfold. I would say that's my personal.
I still
opinion.
think a lot of people find it difficult, though. To pivot, and there'll be the younger generation will be able to kind of pivot a little bit easier, but there'll be people out there that struggle with that.
It's not always going to be about pivoting, right? It's going to be about right use case. And just before we got started, we were talking about diving and how we've all gone through it, right? But imagine if you go to a dive center where all they've got are a few cameras around you along with an instructor, right? And they take you for a few simple exercises in the water. They come back out, right? All of that is already, by the time you come out, all of that is already analyzed by AI on you specifically, and now you've got a reasonably tailored coursework of a standardized material for you, right? And that's just so custom, so designed for you, right? And that's just one example. You don't have to pivot out of your industry of diving because AI came in, right? AI actually helps you become so much better and so much more efficient. You got 20 students, each and every one of them gets a customized plan of approach.
Yeah, you're not wrong. I golf a lot. I'm a big golfer.
Yeah.
And you got coaches. You go to a coach. They, record you on video, swing analysis. Here's a plan. There are apps now. I could set it up, record myself, and it would tell me the things that I need to go and do.
Yep.
But I think it's the coaches that actually incorporate that into their teaching, because I still really need someone there to go and guide me and fine tune it.
Absolutely.
But yeah, I think it's.
But the coach should now use AI to give you that, enhance the advice that he's giving you. Because the way I see it, like going back to your example, there's certain things that you can recognize straight away. Like if we look at peak buoyancy, peak performance buoyancy, right? I remember I took the course twice. Personally, I took the course twice because I couldn't get my head around it the first time round. The second time round, I started to get my head around it, and I started to feel the balance that I needed to feel in the water in order to be perfectly aligned. So the way I see it is recording someone doing that course and recording, say, 10 people doing that course, and then watching it back and then me doing that course and then it being analyzed by AI and giving me that feedback of what I need to adjust, that'd be fantastic.
Right.
Because, the first time round, the guy on the other side didn't give me that feedback. He didn't, to be honest, he didn't speak very good English either. So
Lost in translation.
Lost in translation. So yeah, that would be fantastic. We've mentioned in the last couple of minutes, it's about using that tool to your advantage. It's not about eradicating the job. It's like the finance guys. A lot of the finance guys that we've automated invoicing or we've automated purchase orders. What am I going to do now? There's so much more you guys can do.
Absolutely.
Like there's so much more you can do. There's everything has become easier for you as well. Yeah. We've made things easier for you, number one. Number two, there's more things that you can do for your business or the business that you're working for, or for your own business, should we say, if it's your own business, that you didn't have the time to do previously.
Absolutely. Look, I mean, will we lose all the jobs? Absolutely not. Will we lose quite a substantial number of jobs eventually? Yeah, I think so. I think that's going to happen. But how many times has that happened in history, right? Yeah. At one point in time, printing machines came out, right? And all the scribes lost their jobs, right? But did that end the world? No, it didn't. And, not too long ago, we didn't have automobiles. And there were horse and buggies everywhere. And then came the automobile, and probably all the coachmen are now jobless. Did that end the world? No, it didn't, right? Well, we evolve, we grow, and we find new ways of doing things.
Well, when I got into data, the job title, I don't know if you know this job title, data entry, data entry clerk. They used to literally sit there.
That's it.
Doesn't exist no more, does it?
No. With your rod, I'd love to just let's move away from the scuba diving a little bit.
Okay.
Go on to maybe some projects that you've done. Is there a time where you've kind of run a big project that hasn't gone to plan? And what were some of the learnings from that?
If I had a penny for every time that happened.
I'd
have at least one penny.
Yeah.
No, more than that. Okay. Okay, confession time.
Yeah, we love a confession time.
I was in a federal government working on a large Emiratization project. And, the project was on schedule. Everything was great. Everything was working. And, we were supposed to go live Friday morning. Weekends were Friday, Saturday back then. So we were supposed to go live Friday morning, kind of do the test run over the weekend, and then Sunday morning was a big press release by His Excellency at the time. So, comes Monday, comes Tuesday, everything's perfect. Production environment's been deployed, source code's being deployed. Everything's good, right? Tuesday night, we run the checks. We say, okay, everything's good. Wednesday morning when we come back, we'll do a couple of minor checks here and there, check the backups, check the high availability, the redundancy, those kind of things. Make sure nothing fails, kind of a thing. So everything Tuesday working perfect. Wednesday morning, Wednesday afternoon, everything works perfect. Wednesday night, we had a test for checking high availability. And part of it was switch a server off, the second one takes over, then you bring this one up, and then you switch the second one off. This one takes over, you bring it up, everything checks out, we're good, right? So Wednesday night, we started with that exercise. We estimated this would take, about 2 hours to do. Okay. We started at about 8 p.m., and at 1 a.m., the first server was still shutting down. Why did that happen? So we kind of looked back and we said, it was in US, it was a patch Tuesday for Microsoft. So they had pushed a large patch. The patch was sitting on the machine, waiting to be installed. And the guy who shut the machine down kind of said, install, shut down, restart, without asking anyone. So hence it took a very long time. Anyways, the machine successfully shut down, system shifted over. We said, all right, everything's good. We brought this one back up, ready to shift everything back. And as we're shifting everything back, it doesn't want to come back. So we're trying to figure out what's going on. We're trying to figure out what's going on, right? Thursday morning, Thursday afternoon, Thursday night.
For a lot of late nights by the sounds of things.
Early Friday morning, we figure out that the patch that was deployed was not compatible with the code written. It broke, and it broke bad. And it was a critical patch that had to be deployed, because without that, there would be a massive vulnerability. So my choices are rewrite the entire software in 2 days, or go live with a highly vulnerable system for a federal government.
Stuck between a rock and a hard place at that point.
That's a tough one.
That's the phone call you don't want to make, isn't it?
So, I work all Friday on it. Friday evening, I call my director general at the time, and I say, here's the problem. We can't go live Sunday morning. We can't go live Sunday morning. And he goes, well, why not? I'm like, this is the problem. Well, you got to go live. There's no questions about it. His Excellency scheduled a press conference. Well, I don't think we can. So he says, okay, I tell you what. You got a paper and a pen handy? And I go, yeah. He goes, write this number down. So I write it down. He goes, this is His Excellency's private mobile number. Give him a call, let him know he can't go live Sunday morning.
Nice.
I'm feeling nervous for you.
I'm like, I'm not doing that. That's your job. And he goes, no, you're the one who's promised us we're going to be live, so you got to make us live. So I get the whole team in a huddle Saturday morning. And I go, guys, we got to think out of the box. We got to figure out what to do. And, every single person in the room is, we simply cannot go live. And then you have one of those aha moments because, oh crap, I don't want to deal with this. And somebody in the team goes, well, Monday morning when we go live, only the front end is going to be live because people are just going to come in and log in. And they're going to say, and we're going to say, okay, we're going to send you a mail pending verification of your documents, right? I'm like, why don't we just build a quick website that looks exactly like this and just does that?
This is brilliant. This gets better. This gets better and better.
Oh, that's amazing.
Bought us 3 days, and we figured out a solution in those 3 days.
Well, and what was the solution in the end? Was it rewrite the code?
No, there was another patch that was pushed.
Okay.
And then there was a fix for the bug that was.
So what, if you went back, is there anything you would have done differently or could have done differently?
Yes. I would have made sure that the servers were configured not to auto-install. Absolutely, 100%. And then when that vulnerability is in and you're aware of the vulnerability, you take everything up, you go back and you say, I've got this problem. Now, do you want me to go live or not? We go live with the vulnerability or we don't go live without the vulnerability. But you don't go into a state where you have to say, I can't go live because I broke everything.
No, but you learn the most and you take that from the biggest challenges. It's those moments where you go, oh no, this isn't going well. And you store that in your back of your mind and that stays there forever. And you think, whenever this project or something comes up similar, I'm never going to make the same mistake twice.
Yeah,
correct.
Very much so.
Correct.
Very much so.
Correct. Especially in technology. I've had those kind of moments as well, several times as well. And like Tom said, it's about learning from that mistake and never making that mistake again. And do you know what? I've always found that, the guys that I used to look up to 10, 15 years ago, I used to always question them. Why is he doing that? Why is he double checking this? Why is he double checking that? It'll be fine. Now I know what he was talking about 10, 15 years ago. Because I do the same thing. And the guys that, are working for me or with me, usually they all look at me thinking, why is he doing that twice and 3 times? what's his problem? Like, you know,
Yeah, because you haven't been through what
yeah,
I've been through.
exactly. In 15 years time, they'll see. That's why site was doing that.
Oh, and let me add something else to it. That particular project, that was the first time I'd actually started leading an IT department.
So you definitely felt the
I'm not
pressure.
gonna get a job again.
Yeah.
That's bad. That is definitely throw the walls out straight away, isn't it?
You learn a lot about yourself in that.
Yeah.
Oh, very much so. Very much so.
So I think we're going to be kind of wrapping up. We've got a bit of time left, maybe five minutes or so. But I don't know if there's anything you want to, I guess, pass on to the audience. Going into the role of IT infrastructure. Kind of the next generation that's coming up. We always want to pass on some learnings to our audience. Is there anything that you would like to leave them with at all?
Oh, absolutely. Look, 2 or 3 things that I would like to say. First, love your job. Do it because you love it. Don't just get into it because it pays or it pays well. There are plenty of jobs out there, and if you really find what you're passionate about, my dad always told me, find your passion. Do what you're passionate about. Success, money will follow. Truer words haven't been spoken, right? So that would be the first piece of advice to everybody out there. Follow your passion, follow your gut, do what you really like to do. I think that's very important. Once you get in there, don't be afraid to take risks. Don't be afraid to make a mistake, but own up to your mistakes. Stand up and be counted. Take accountability for what you did. Trust me, you're going to come out better than you went in. You're going to learn so much about yourself when you just go through that exercise. Very easy to shift the blame, very easy to try and pass the buck on to someone else. But when you hold on to it, right, there is an inherent leadership quality that awakens within you. And the respect that you're going to earn of your colleagues and the professionals around you, you're going to be surprised how many more opportunities open up for you. So be true to yourself, straight true to your job, and be accountable. Always be accountable.
I couldn't agree.
I was going to say, I think you've just
know
closed
what?
the
Yeah,
podcast
I couldn't agree
in the
more
best
with that
way.
statement,
No,
yeah.
That's unbelievable. And Faisal, thanks for having you on.
Thank you
It's been
so
an
much,
absolute
Faisal.
pleasure.
Thank you.
Next time we'll definitely have you back at another point. Maybe some more learnings in the future.
It's the only project I'm going to talk about.
Yeah, no, that's it. We maybe talk about small behind closed doors. Anything else to conclude, Si?
No, that's it. Thank you so much for coming on.
My pleasure.
And I think that we're going to have to go diving at some point. That's my promise this year. Is I'm going to
Yes,
get back into
absolutely.
diving.
We got to get you in there.
Yeah, excellent. Oh, brilliant. Well, thank you so much for coming. It's been a pleasure speaking with you today.
My pleasure. Thank you so much for having
Thanks,
me
Si.
here.
Excellent.
If you need 5 minutes more.
No, it's okay because I know you had the. Don't worry. Thank you.
Appreciate it.
My
Have you on?
Yeah.